Looking for a place to finally call home? At Tupelo Home Center, we make it easy. From finding the perfect home to making financing a breeze, we'll take care of everything. Your new home is closer than you think. Pre-qualify today at TupeloHomeCenter.com.
Half off all furniture, motion, and mattresses.
Plus another extra 10% off.
And 20% off accessories.
And 4 years special financing.
I need to lie down.
Labor Day savings that'll leave you speechless at room to room.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, welcome in on this steamy, hot, every adjective that you can think of sort of Thursday. You're watching Mississippi Live at 5. It is somewhere between hot and dangerously hot. And that is a heat wave that we do anticipate won't last just for the next few days, but could easily last into the next couple of weeks. We are going to have team coverage again of the heat this evening. Gabe again talking about things happening around the region. Emily, of course, discussing Mississippi Live News. And our Caleb Bettelblue, who, well, you know, the young kid typically gets to go out live when it's hot. And so that's Caleb's duty today. We'll check in with him here in just a moment as he is trying to see folks attempting to stay cool out there at Veterans Park. Our hour-by-hour forecast as we go into and through this evening, expected to have those temperatures still actual temperatures 95 at 6 p.m. We expect the heat indices up around 105 still at that point. Could be past maybe 10 p.m. before those heat indices drop into the low 90s for some spots. So it stays hot. And even tomorrow morning with those mid-70s begin the day. Uncomfortable the way I think we would definitely describe things. I do want to go off the top here again to check with our meteorologist, Caleb Bettelblue, who is live at Veterans Park. You know, folks there trying to do the best they can to stay cool. I guess that's all locations this afternoon. What are you seeing?
Well, definitely some sunny skies. I will say this is the nicest it's felt outside, and that's because there's big old clouds trying to cover up that sunshine. So still not providing too much meaningful cloud cover, but I am here at Veterans Memorial Park, and I'm here next to the splash pad and a little playground. Now you'll notice we don't really have many people on the splash pad because the water's not working. So definitely no reason to be out here if there's no way to cool off, but we still have a family out here swinging, trying to enjoy some time together, so much time. So hopefully everyone continues to enjoy these toasty times together, and we'll start to enjoy some more AC inside because it can't last too long out here. It's definitely toasty, Matt.
You know, I wouldn't say enjoy. You know, you I think model at least part of this. We have to do light colored clothing, light fitting clothing so that your body, the perspiration can evaporate as best it can. But with the humidity where it is, that just is a problem.
Oh, 100%. I wore a black cotton shirt yesterday to pack up the car and immediately went inside to change. It was not worth it. Did not last 5 minutes.
Sometimes the atmosphere teaches you the lesson. Our Caleb Bettelblue in Tupelo there. I hope they get that splash pad up and going here pretty soon. I'll ask Emily about that in more detail here in a minute. So heat alerts do continue as we wrap up this work week going forward over the next few days. We are keeping an eye on the tropics where we do have a couple of disturbances there that could eventually become significant, and calling all farmers and calling up our Emily Leonard again with Mississippi Live News. What do we have coming up related to news this evening?
Well, actually, we're calling all framers. Whether you're a farmer or a framer, being outside is definitely not the place you want to be anytime soon. But right now, a lot of construction happening all around the area, it seems like, which is a good thing because construction means progress, means things are happening. And in Starkville, they're doing some redevelopment near the Cotton District involving a hotel. But what they also, there is 8 Days of Hope. They are needing framers to help them frame the new Parkgate Clinic. We've got more about all of the construction and the remodeling of all sorts of things all over North Mississippi coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, I appreciate that, Emily. And look at this. Gabe even working behind the scenes to change it from farmers to framers. That Mainer man, he knows what he is doing there. We're going to be checking in with him on some pictures you guys sent in related to the meteor shower last night coming up in a minute. But obviously the heat is the story of the day. Same outline of counties that we had yesterday under those heat advisories. Everybody in orange there. Those in effect through now Sunday at 8 p.m. Typically those are only issued a couple days in advance. The fact that it's Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days out, that tells you that this qualifies as a legitimate heat wave. with those extreme heat warnings for the counties in pink, such as Quitman, Tallahatchie, Coahoma, and Tunica counties, where those heat indices are the most brutal. Going out to the Delta, Washington County, where Greenville is, it feels like 109 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Looks like you have fire there toward the horizon, but obviously that's a non-weather related issue this afternoon. Checking out there in Macon, our Fastnet camera, 98, and it feels like 108 on those southeast breezes. At least there's a little breeze there at 9 miles per hour. In Iuka, the far northern tip of the state, it's the same shot. So we went west, south, north, it's the same. Unfortunately, our Farmers and Merchants Bank there in Iuka coming in with partly cloudy skies and obviously the heat, the story. You know, we have watched some showers and thunderstorms out there today. Been another active day with storms back to the east of us into Alabama and back into Georgia. Another day of severe weather up to the north of us as well. Those severe weather reports, mainly rainfall issues, but some wind and other issues up to the north. And unfortunately, when you have a warm front, that tells you the direction they're moving. You look at the little half circles there on the front end. They tell you it's advancing northward. The heat is continuing to build, not retreat. And so going forward the remainder of this evening, as you might imagine, it stays pretty hot. Now, I will say, and I'm going to hold Gabe's feet to the fire on this one real quick. Typically, I'd wait a little deeper in the show for this, but I'm going to bring Gabe in here for a second. Do we believe the HRRR with little pop-up showers there? I feel like that's aggressive.
It is. Simply put, yeah, I put 10% there as a precautionary thing, but really we've seen the showers remain out there towards Alabama, have not seen those cross the state line, and a term that I used earlier in the week, the brick wall of the Mississippi state line, it's still holding pretty firm even into our Thursday. Even
if they are clear bricks. Okay, I appreciate that, Gabe. Yeah, just underwhelmed by the potential to maybe see a pop-up shower. We'll say 10% is probably overdoing it this evening. Most of us are dry. We just couldn't get that lucky, right? As we should stay mostly dry into the overnight hours. We continue to have those winds out of the south and west at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, even through the first part of tomorrow morning. Starting off with temperatures around 77, we're 85 by 9, 95 by noon. Normal this time of year is around 92 degrees. We're looking at temperatures pushing near the 100-degree point by afternoon. Certainly heat indices will be well in excess of that. And that continues, obviously, into the weekend. We use the term heat wave. I hate that term, but it definitely applies as we are looking at a very extended period of heat coming up ahead. We'll be talking about just how long some of the outlooks look for that coming up here in a couple of minutes. But 60 seconds from now, it's Mississippi Live News. Our Emily Leonard back right after this as you're watching Mississippi Live at 5.
Every legend starts somewhere.
Not with perfection, but with the decision.
The decision to show up, work harder, and believe this place can change everything.
At Northeast, you're more than just a number.
We're built on opportunity, and our students are willing to rise to the occasion.
Here, success isn't handed to you. It's earned.
You don't just leave with a degree, you leave as a legend.
Friday, August 21st, don't miss the Tupelo Super Show benefiting St. Jude, featuring the legends of Memphis Wrestling. Reserve seat right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
There are moments in life when we don't act based on who someone loves, where they're from, or what they believe, because the things that make us different will never change. What makes us human.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. A former Columbus councilman has been indicted and arrested on felony charges, accused of taking your tax dollars and putting it in his own pocket. A Lowndes County grand jury indicted former Ward 2 Councilman Joseph Mickens for rigging bids while in office. A look at his mugshot from Thursday. Prosecutors say Mickens rigged city contracts with this business owner, Marcus Dawson Sr., who was also arrested and indicted. Dawson allegedly submitted the rigged bids on behalf of his business, HVAC and Mechanical LLC. According to the indictment, Mickens took more than $11,000 for flooring work at Townsend Community Center and the city garage while he was still a sitting councilman voting on that very budget that paid for it. A look at him walking in with the sheriff from today. He served 4 terms on the city council, losing his seat in the 2025 Democratic primary. The Dispatch gives a really good breakdown of what happened, what's that indictment, and what it's all about, how much money was moved around. Scan the QR code there on the corner of your screen to read it. Construction is moving forward on the new Starkville High School. The Starkville-Oktibbeha Consolidated School Board of Trustees approved concrete and steel bid packages Tuesday, coming in about 3% over estimates. It was a $13 million construction package. Superintendent Tony McGee says rising steel and electrical costs account for most of that bump, but everything else came in normal. Work starts in September, part of the project's second phase, projected at $99.2 million for the full 227,000 square foot building. It's a big one. The board also lowered its tax request from $38.4 million down to $37.9 million after finding about $500,000 in operations cuts. So here's what this means to you, the taxpayer. If you have a $100,000 home, it's now valued at $121,500. You'd see about $81 more a year with your homestead exemption or $123 more without it. The board president says the goal was to keep the budget as tight as possible for taxpayers. Calling all carpenters, framers, and skilled workers. 8 Days of Hope and the Parkgate Pregnancy Clinic, they need you. Construction's happening right now on the new center in Tupelo, but it's almost time for framing, and this is where you guys come in. They need folks skilled in framing to donate time and a little bit of sweat, or maybe a lot, to help build and frame out this 8,000 square foot center. It's going to be one of the biggest in the Southeast.
So we need anybody that's got some skills to do construction. So we'll be doing framing here in the next couple weeks. We'll be starting August 29th. It'll run through September 12th. If you have 2-3 days, if you have 2 weeks, you know, we'd love to have you come help us frame and just put this thing together. So a little bit of skills, a lot of skills, we need both. So if you're a professional and you got a little lull in schedule, let's jump in there and get her done.
Yeah, let's get her done, like Danny said. Food and lodging is going to be covered for the volunteers. They need help, like Danny said, August the 29th through September 12th. However many days you can help out would be great. Register right now at 8daysofhope.com. Hey everyone, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. Have a great day.
Dust off your favorite shotgun and sign up for the Natchez Trace Council Clay Classic. Call 662-842-2871 or visit natcheztracecouncil.org.
Dímelo, mi gente, it's Friday night y estamos activos. Head out early. Drinks flowing till 11 p.m. It's gonna be lit.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
Well, the most miserable temperature award, not quite the Clarksdale, even though you're officially under that extreme heat warning. We have a lot of folks up around 108 to 109 degrees for that feels like temperature. You're watching Mississippi Live here at 5 and 98, not quite cutting it all the way there in the Clarksdale area. We've been kind of checking a lot of spots out there in The Delta sliding up the road there toward Crenshaw. 97 feels like 106, an improvement. Not often, though, we can say 106 degrees is an improvement. Come back in the eastern part of the state. Our Mitchell Cunningham bowling camera in the Tupelo area. Gabe, after the show, we need to probably call the folks there at the Barron to check and see what's up with the temperature on Tupelo. I know it's reporting their station. We'll look at that here in just a moment. But as you'll note here, there is no precipitation, only bugs being detected on Mama Justice Doppler radar. And we have a few more days of that ahead as well. Looking at those temperatures, comes in 100 degrees for that temperature. Actual temperature there in the Houston area, 98 for Water Valley, 99 in Greenville. That feels like temperature 108 in Greenville, 106 Cleveland, 108 there in Belzona. I mean, everybody hot. I guess our winner or loser out in Columbus and Aliceville, they're both coming in at 111 degrees at this hour. So actual temperatures this weekend, look at Gabe getting bold. Going 100 for the high on Saturday and 101 for Sunday. Dangerous heat. I think those skies stay dry, as we mentioned there. And I'll bring Gabe in here, not to debate that. We'll talk more about the forecasting and that here in a minute. But with those dry conditions, you actually caught some things, or some folks caught some things in the sky last night, right?
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for this, but some beautiful shots. As we were talking about through the week, the Perseid meteor shower was ongoing, peaking last night into the early hours of our Thursday now. And this was a shot submitted to us by Corwin. He actually, at 4:30 this morning in Tennessee, was able to capture not one, but two meteors there. We talk about a meteor every other minute. Well, how about two simultaneously at the same time? Shows that the rate is just an average, and you might get lucky like Corwin did in Tennessee. We do have some more shots coming in there of some of those meteor showers. Now, don't blink. Got to look right here off to the screen. You can see how that just barely goes by on the screen. Fast-moving meteors, not going to last too long up there in the sky. And we actually got one other view here, yeah, right there in the center of your screen. Just, I mean, a blink and you'll miss it. And that's how it goes. You know, I feel like that was my luck all the time with watching meteors. Was I'm sure when I blinked, that was when the meteors happened. So I'm glad that was Katie submitting those videos, Corwin submitting those pictures. I mean, just some phenomenal shots coming out of the meteor shower last night.
Now, I will say this, on the pictures, that's probably long exposure. That's how you have two on at the same time. That's probably the only way you got the whole streak on that as well. But either way, I'm glad that there's some photographers who know how to do that, even though we can't
Yeah,
pull it
I
off
don't know
on
how
the
to do it,
smartphone usually.
so there you go.
Okay, I appreciate that. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard there. You know, the streaks that we're looking at here on our projections, looking toward the tropics, two areas, both at 60% chance of development over the course of the next, or the first one here with a 60% chance of development over the course of the next 7 days. As it works its way again closer to mainland North America, it will eventually strengthen. Now, the other one that's farther out, and again, these are not close. I guess that's one thing I want to make sure we're clear on. These are way, way long distance away. You know, that's Bermuda. You can see how far removed those are. So we have a lot of time to watch these, but both these disturbances, like we talked about with the far extended forecast last night, a lot of things have to go right for them to make it all the way to the U.S. as a tropical system. At this point, that is not the expectation. Doesn't take much tomorrow for it to be hot. It's just going to be really hot. 78 at drop off in the morning. I mean, the crossing guards will be sweating in the morning. No question about that. The start off the day, we're 93 by lunch and 98 degrees by the final bell. And appreciate our friends at IMPC for again sponsoring our school day forecast there. So looking at Futurecast, you know, through the evening here tonight, it shows maybe a couple little pop-up showers. Honestly, way overdone. We're not going to see much, if anything, trying to pop up this evening. I think we have enough sinking air out there. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe somebody gets some rain cool there. Or moisture, because frankly, going forward, it's going to be nothing but dry. Overnight, obviously, a microcosm of that. And temperatures in the upper 70s for the first part of early tomorrow morning, near the 80-degree point, about 7 degrees or so in many cases, warmer than we should be for this time of the year to start the day. West winds continue. That's not a direction that brings us much moisture. And so we continue baking the atmosphere, trying to mix down the amount of moisture that we have out there as we're mostly dry, continuing into the evening and overnight hours. Again, for tomorrow with rain chances out to the east there into Alabama. I showed just maybe the slightest chance for Aliceville, perhaps there between Columbus and Starkville, but probably overdone. I mean, not even 10%, barely 5% for the highs tomorrow. I went right to the future heat index because you might as well get right to it. But actual temperatures will say to 100 degrees there in Greenwood, 100 in Houston, 100 in Tupelo. I mean, I'm just pointing out the highest of those. 103 in Greenville, an example of that. But look at this again. I'm going to go back and forth here one more time. See, Greenville, we show 103 for the high temperature, and then the graphic where it does the whole map there, 105 for the heat index. The measures of moisture out there in the Delta continue to kind of moderate. So while we're all the way up to maybe one of those extreme heat warnings of the Tupelo area there at 109 or 108 there for Houston, the thinking is that we will probably not get a whole lot hotter than that into this week, despite the fact the actual temperatures keep going up because the moisture, we're mixing that out. A couple little pop-ups, not impossible tomorrow evening or your Friday evening, but I'm not changing any of my Friday evening plans for moisture. Now, you might obviously have to because of just how hot those temperatures are. Wider shot here again shows a few showers south of us, but not much out there as we start Saturday. Tranquil but steamy. Your Saturday low temperatures somewhere in the middle 70s. Now notice, and maybe this is just a weather nerd thing that I noticed right away, but if you're paying close attention to the Delta, these numbers are down a little bit from this morning and tomorrow morning. And that's that more limited amount of moisture out there as we continue to mix out with the clouds there, mix out the moisture day by day. And that's what then gets that actual temperature going higher. So with mostly clear skies, again, no precipitation out there as we look toward your Friday. And the direction out of the Gulf is not one that, is direct toward us. Because notice where the air is originating. I'm going to draw right along this here for a second, right? If I trace these lines, if air is going to make it in the Northwest Mississippi, it's got to go all the way from Houston, Texas, all the way to there. When that happens, it's overland a lot. If we're coming right out of the Gulf, it's a much shorter distance. Thus, we're more likely to have moisture and pop-up showers and storms. This is a fairly dry direction for us this time of year with high pressure down toward the coast. So we do have some puffy cumulus clouds, but no real chances for precipitation. Even there on our strike model here, which tends to overdo things a little bit, there's just not much out there. So that then boosts the temperatures another degree or two, some spots by your Saturday afternoon, 103 actual high temperature there in Greenville, 102 Clarksdale, about 100 degrees in Houston, 99 Amory, 102 there in Starkville. And the heat index, we're showing 104. Notice these are down ever so slightly from where they were on your Friday. So a slight, ever so slight improvement to the temperatures there by your Saturday afternoon. Still heat advisory levels, still move those indoors, activities indoors if necessary. And then looking at dry conditions again in the Saturday evening, Saturday night, it's a similar story, different verse. It's that same high pressure center down toward the coast, and it's got us blocked off from any meaningful moisture. Yes, the blue line does mean cold front, but a cold front has to get here for it to matter. And this one, another one that stalls out to the north and west of us. So lows, upper 70s, maybe some low 80s at the warmest there, mid 70s for the rest of us. Again, above normal to start off early Sunday morning. Sunday, as we progress toward the afternoon and into the evening, I think we'll have, again, partly cloudy skies, no meaningful precipitation through midday Sunday. A couple little showers try to pop up as we go towards Sunday afternoon. Not expecting much, but the fact that there's anything out there is something that makes me a little bit more optimistic. But at the same time, I'm not convinced. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, here again, get his thoughts on this as we kind of debate back and forth what we're looking at with that there. And Gabe, I'm unimpressed again with Sunday afternoon, but the fact that strike is even trying to do anything is a positive in my mind.
It is a positive, but I think the layout of where the atmosphere stands and those pressure systems really does tell the tale. And that's one of the things that upped my confidence earlier on in the week is how that high pressure kind of moved directly south of us, and we're getting more of that wind blowing in from Texas, out from Oklahoma, where it's that drier heat. And so that's why we're going to be in a very dry pattern. And I think that going into this weekend, we're going to have an uphill battle to where models are going to have to restart themselves basically and figure out how to go with those rain chances. So early on, probably going to overdo it until it starts to verify. That's when we can start putting those rain chances confidently. Now, with all that being said, next week does look better. Not a ton better.
And we'll talk more about that at 6 o'clock. I think we'll dig into the deeper part of that coming up then as well. But better is a relative term. Let's be clear on that. And we will still continue to be Very hot. Let's see if I can stop all the text messages. Group chats. Don't you love them? Especially when they start going when you're on air. 101, the high temperature in Tupelo and Grenada, and coming in 102 there in Greenwood with the hottest, 104 in Greenville. We're hoping that this is overdone, but I think with as dry as we are, if there's not some rain cooled air out there, this number is the same. So that's the reason those heat advisories continue, and they continue deep into next week as well. Look at the 7-day forecast here that still has us around the 100-degree point by Monday. Here's that slightly better chance for rainfall that Gabe was mentioning a moment ago there, 20% coverage on Monday and Tuesday. Again, limited chances. You know, we don't have a real pattern shift here. It's a little subtle shift, and temperatures are still going to be running way above where we typically should be for this time of the year. So unfortunately, everything about this just screams hot, and not really breaking to a large extent. I do remember last week someone was asking, hey, you're showing some really extreme temperatures on the models out there toward the Delta. Is that going to be true? Unfortunately, the reality on that is that it largely is kind of looking like that. We appreciate you guys for being on with us in Corinth and all around the area there, for kind of checking in with us this afternoon. I want to bring in our Emily Leonard here, previewing what we have for Mississippi Live News coming up during our 6 o'clock broadcast. And Emily, you know, looking towards that, you know, have we been able to clarify the splash pad yet? I think your microphone's off. I think your microphone's off.
Now, am I good? Hello, testing.
Yeah, I can hear you.
1, 2,
Go for
1,
it.
2. Check. All right, cool. Well, I'm not a newbie at this game, but I did forget to turn on my microphone. Speaking of newbies, Caleb, our youngest person here at Mississippi Live, bless his little heart. I messaged Alex Farned with Tupelo Parks and Rec, and I said, hey, what's up with the water at Veterans Park? And he's like, nothing. And then it dawns on me, poor Caleb probably has never played on a splash pad and didn't know you have to go press the button. So I made him go back, and he double-checked it. The water is working at Veterans Splash Pad. It's just way too hot to go to the splash pad, I guess.
Is it one of those things, the water as it's going just immediately is like evaporating in midair pretty much? I mean, not actually, but it kind of feels like it's hot enough for that.
No, they put those things on timers, obviously, so they don't run water 24/7. And the little ones go out there, and when the water dies off, they slap the button and up they come again. And I don't think Caleb realized it because nobody was at the park. It's just too hot.
Everyone's trying to. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Just because the kids can get in the water, I think the moms and dads are like, yeah, not now.
No, thank you. No, absolutely
thank
not.
you.
Oh, but coming up
again,
at
you
6,
kind of-
Beyond the Splash Pad.
Yeah.
What? Okay, Beyond the Splash Pad. We're still talking about more construction and also Bitcoin mining facility. It's been a bit of a contentious couple of words in Starkville, and the Planning and Zoning Committee had a definite response to it. So we'll talk about that at 6.
Okay, looking forward to hearing that coming up tonight on Mississippi Live at 6. Also at 6, again, we'll be looking in more detail at your forecast for just how long this heat wave continues to stay in effect. Unfortunately, it's going to be a while. We're tracking the very latest on that coming up on Mississippi Live at 6. And again, thank you so much for joining us for Mississippi Live here at 5. For all of us, we'll see you in about 30 minutes. Have a good night.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.